The attacks resulted in the deaths of 2,977 people,
Damn.
including 246 on the 4 planes, 2,606 in the World Trade Center and surrounding areas, and 125 at the Pentagon.
This is the reason why TSA exists, I think. If you ever need to get on a plane and there's some lady, you know, freaking shaking you down and smacking your butt and checking to make sure you don't have any liquid inside of your anal cavity, this is why. When you think of crazy atrocities throughout history, some of the things that may come to your mind would be slavery, 9/11, Columbine, but there are a lot of ones that we haven't really heard too much about, or they didn't really discuss too much, at least in my classes, like Chernobyl. There was something in like Fukushima, maybe, I don't know. So today we're gonna be checking out the most devastating tragedies explained in 22 minutes. And to spice it up, I guess, a little bit, I've decided that we're gonna rank them each according to how tragic they really were, based on how he explains it or what we know. And then y'all in the comment section can give me context. Obviously, everything in this video is gonna be extremely tragic. So in no way, shape, or form is ranking them undermining anything when they're all really bad, right?
The sinking of the RMS Titanic occurred on April 15th, 1912, when the British passenger liner was sunk in the North Atlantic Ocean during its voyage to New York City.
Okay.
The ship, built by the White Star Line, was the largest and most luxurious of its time, and was considered unsinkable due to its advanced safety features.
Little did they know, as soon as the thing smashes into an iceberg, it's finished, man. Me personally, I probably would have survived. No, I can't even swim. I'm not gonna lie to you. Typical black, yeah, I can't swim, whatever. Ha ha ha, so funny, bro.
Including 16 watertight compartments. However, these compartments did not extend high enough to fully prevent flooding in the event of a breach.
Okay.
On the night of April 14th at 11:40 p.m., the Titanic struck an iceberg. This iceberg scraped along the ship's starboard side, creating a series of small punctures across several watertight compartments.
Okay.
Although the ship initially appeared stable, it soon became clear that the first 5 compartments were flooding, more than the ship could stay afloat with. Over the next few hours, the Titanic began to sink, and despite the stress calls, the nearest ship capable of assisting, the Carpathia, was too far away to arrive in time.
I wonder what it was like being on the Titanic. I know there was a movie about the Titanic, which I have yet to watch, but being on the Titanic while it's sinking, like knowing you're slowly going into your demise, you got a couple minutes to, you know, confess your love to the shorties of the Titanic.
The sinking was worsened due to a shortage of lifeboats, as there were only 20 on board, which was enough for only half of the passengers and crew. And this
So how did they decide, okay, you're gonna go and you're gonna stay? Did they do like women, children, and then, you know, grown men last because, you know, sexism and the world hates men and we're so... I'm kidding. This
was due to outdated seagoing regulations. Additionally, many lifeboats were launched only partially filled, as many people hesitated to leave the ship. Out of approximately 2,224 people on board, only...
Okay, if you hesitate to leave the ship while you're literally watching it sink, you did not deserve to die, but you probably deserve to, not be saved. I don't know. Like, what? It's a lifesaver boat.
Out of approximately 2,224 people on board, only 706 survived, with this disaster claiming the lives of over 1,500 passengers and crew members, most of them being from the ship's lower class compartments, and also crew who had less access to lifeboats. The sinking of the Titanic remains one of the deadliest tragedies in history that have occurred in the ocean, and it led to many changes in seagoing safety regulations, including requirements for sufficient lifeboats and the establishment of the International Ice Patrol to...
Speaking of which, bro, do y'all like cruises? I know some of y'all, you know, freaky bulls be going on them cruises and diddy parties with all the, you know, 35-year-old women or whatever, but me personally, cruises, I don't know. Anything on the boat that's too long, I be feeling like I'm lost at sea. I start feeling like I'm in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
The Halifax Explosion occurred on December 6, 1917 in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
I thought this was Nova Scotia. I thought they said Nova Scotia.
And remains one of the most devastating explosions in history. The disaster began when 2 ships collided in the narrow Halifax harbor, the French cargo ship Mont Blanc and the Norwegian ship Imo. The Mont Blanc was loaded with highly volatile materials, including TNT, benzol, and picric acid.
You have TNT, all you need is some freaking flint and steel. This is done, bro. If you play Minecraft, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
As the 2 ships maneuvered through the harbor's narrows, miscommunications and navigational errors led to a collision. The impact ignited the explosions on the Mont Blanc, and the crew, realizing the incoming danger, abandoned the ship, but the burning vessel drifted towards the...
Why does this remind me of the Going Merry, bro, from One Piece? If you know, you know, bro. When the Going Merry died, that's when part of me died too.
Vessel drifted towards the busy waterfront, drawing in a crowd of onlookers unaware of the danger. At 9:04 a.m., the Mont Blanc exploded with catastrophic force. The blast leveled much of the northern part of Halifax and the neighboring community of Richmond. The explosion released an estimated energy equivalent to 2.9 kilotons of TNT, creating a powerful shockwave that shattered windows as far as 50 miles away and generated a massive tsunami in the harbor.
50 miles away?
Over 2,000 people were killed, including many children and workers in nearby factories and homes. Approximately 9,000 people were injured, some blinded by flying glass or trapped under debris. The
flying glass blinded them? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay, I know that people died, but for some reason, like flying glass slicing my iris and cornea open inside of my eyeball is definitely giving me a worse reaction than just death. I don't know. Brief intermission. If you're enjoying the video so far, please make sure you sub to the channel. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers. Thank you very much.
Flying glass or trapped under debris. The explosion also destroyed 12,000 buildings, leaving thousands of people homeless.
Damn.
Hospitals were overwhelmed, and relief efforts were quickly mobilized from across Canada and the United States. The Halifax explosion prompted significant advances in emergency management and disaster response, and it remains a defining moment in the city's history.
Why is there so much damn TNT on a boat like that?
The Holocaust was the systematic state-sponsored genocide of 6 million Jews by Nazi Germany. And
6 million is freaking crazy, bro. Because the Titanic was 1,000, the Halifax explosion was 2,000. The Holocaust, 6 million Jews were killed during this event, bro. What did Adolf have to the point where he had to eradicate 6 million, bro? I think we can all agree, Titanic, Halifax, Holocaust. And as a matter of fact, Holocaust is probably going to be the #1.
Its collaborators during World War II. It began with the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party in 1933, whose anti-Semitic ideology blamed Jewish people for—
Y'all remember when freaking Elon Musk did this position? It was just, my heart goes out to you.
Germany's economic problems and portrayed them as a threat to the Aryan race. After gaining power, the Nazis implemented increasingly oppressive laws, such as the Nuremberg Laws of 1935, which stripped Jews of their rights and launched a campaign of widespread persecution. The situation—
Because they're not of the freaking Aryan race? Imagine being born into this world and then they're like, oh, you're automatically inferior, buddy. We're superior. Oh, wait. I don't gotta imagine. Racism is just crazy. I don't know.
The situation worsened after the outbreak of World War II in 1939, when Nazi Germany began its conquest of Europe. Jews in occupied territories were rounded up and forced into ghettos under horrible conditions.
Damn.
And in 1941, Nazi leaders initiated the Final Solution, which was a plan to exterminate the Jewish population.
The final solution? What do you mean solutions? That's the problem. That's the biggest problem. Motherfucker called it the final solution. And he's like, you know what? We have a problem on our hands, and this is the solution. We're gonna get rid of the entire freaking population of them. What is superior about Aryans, by the way? Blue eyes, blonde hair, white skin?
This led to the construction of extermination camps, such as Auschwitz, Treblinka, and Sobibor, where millions of Jews were systematically murdered in gas chambers. Aside from Jews, the Nazis targeted other groups that they deemed undesirable, including Romani people, disabled individuals, Slavs, political descendants, and LGBTQ individuals. The Holocaust brutality extended to mass shootings, death marches, forced labor, starvation, and medical experiments, leaving millions of victims dead or deeply scarred. By the time the Holocaust ended in 1945, with the Allied forces liberating the concentration camps—
Wait, how long did it go for? Does anybody know off the top of their head? I'm thinking like, how long did it take them to kill 6 million of one type of people? It's gotta be in multiple years.
Approximately 6 million Jews, 2/3 of Europe's Jewish population, had been killed. In addition, 5 million non-Jewish victims perished as well. And the Holocaust remains one of the most horrific atrocities in human history, with the survivors' testimonies serving as a reminder of the dangers of hatred and intolerance. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in
See, I seen some videos about like some of the survivors from this time, and they're extremely traumatized. Like,
bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945, the United States dropped the bombs to hasten Japan's surrender and avoid a costly invasion, as the Pacific War had been prolonged and brutal, with Japan showing no signs of surrender. On August 6th, 1945, the US dropped an atomic bomb, codenamed Little Boy, on Hiroshima.
I thought it was Fat Boy. Little Boy and Big Man, maybe? I don't know.
Was a major Japanese military— US dropped an atomic bomb, codenamed Little Boy, on Hiroshima, which was a major Japanese military and industrial hub. The bomb, containing uranium-235, detonated at 8:15 a.m., releasing an explosion equivalent to about 15 kilotons of TNT. The blast obliterated the city, instantly killing an estimated 70 to 80,000 people.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, that is sick, bro. That is disgusting. I think that was the first and only nuke to ever be launched, right? And that was against Japan. I don't mean to be biased because I'm Japanese, but like, bro, that's actually great. Like, did the US need to do that with an atomic bomb? Like, regular bombs couldn't suffice? Like, did you have to go and hit them with I don't know, bro. One of the worst things about war is the fact that innocent people always die. Like, if you're gonna target the military, destroy the military, but the fact that innocent casualties always happen, that's what I hate the most.
With many more dying from injuries and radiation sickness in the days and months that followed, bringing the death toll to over 140,000 by the end of 1945.
Damn.
The intense heat and radiation caused horrific burns, while the shockwave leveled buildings, leaving survivors with long-term health effects. 3 days later, on August 9th, the United States dropped a second bomb called Fat Man in Nagasaki, a city with significant industrial importance. This plutonium bomb was
So after 140,000 people perished due to the insane radiation in Little Boy, you decided to drop Fat Man? Wait, who was the leader at the time? Who allowed this, bro?
This plutonium bomb was even more powerful, with a yield of about 21 kilotons, though the city's mountainous terrain limited the destruction. An estimated 40,000 people were killed instantly, with the total number of deaths reaching around 70,000 by the end of the year. The bombings prompted Japan to surrender on August 15th, 1940.
You have to, otherwise the country's going up in smokes, bro. That was like the first time this was ever seen in history, right? Japan had no idea this was coming, bro.
And officially bringing World War II to an end. These events raised ethical debates about the use of nuclear weapons and sparked the Cold War arms race. In total, the two bombings killed over 200,000 people and left lasting scars on Japan's landscape, health, and society. The survivors' suffering and the bombing's global impact continue to influence discussions on war and peace.
I would say that's probably two now. That one is probably the second worst after the Holocaust.
The Texas City disaster, which occurred on April 16th, 1947, remains one of the deadliest industrial accidents in United States history. It began when a French cargo ship, the SS Grand Camp, docked in the port of Texas City and caught fire while it was being loaded with ammonium nitrate fertilizer, a highly explosive material commonly used in
ammonium nitrate fertilizer. You say that word too many times out loud and you might, start levitating, bro.
Being loaded with ammonium nitrate fertilizer, a highly explosive material commonly used in agriculture. The fire was discovered around 8 a.m.
Fertilizer? So is it like cow poop?
And despite efforts to extinguish it, the situation quickly spiraled out of control. As the fire intensified, the captain ordered the hatches sealed in an attempt to starve the flames of oxygen, but this proved to be ineffective. At 9:12 a.m., the ammonium nitrate ignited, triggering a massive explosion that obliterated the Grand Camp and sent a towering mushroom cloud into the sky, with the blast being heard up to 150 miles away. The explosion unleashed devastating shockwaves, destroying nearby buildings, homes, and factories, and the docks were completely
from a fertilizer, though? The fact that fertilizer is the root cause of this is wild, bro.
Leveled, with nearby oil refineries and chemical plants catching fire, worsening the disaster. The explosion also launched flaming debris, including parts of the Grand Camp, into surviving areas, igniting further fires. A second explosion occurred the next day when another ship, the SS High Flyer, also loaded with ammonium nitrate, detonated, and the combined blast.
Alright, bro, get this ammonium nitrate off these ships, bro. At that point, I'm thinking it's cursed, man. If I'm from freaking Texas City, I don't ever want to hear anything about ammonium, nothing ever again, bro.
Resulted in widespread destruction across Texas City. This disaster killed an estimated 581 people, including firefighters, dock workers, and onlookers, and also injured over 5,000 more. Many of the victims were never identified, and the explosions left thousands of people homeless, with hundreds of buildings being destroyed, and also causing millions of dollars in damage.
So far, I mean, it's between that one and the Titanic as the least devastating tragedy so far, just because that one didn't result in as many deaths. It did have a lot of casualties and injuries, so if you put it above the Titanic, I'm not mad at that. Besides that, it can't be above the other ones.
The Bhopal Gas Tragedy, one of the world's worst industrial disasters, occurred on the nights of December 2nd to 3rd, 1984, in Bhopal, India. It began at the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide plant, where a highly toxic chemical called methyl isocyanate, also known as...
What is this chemistry going on, bro? Methyl isocyanate. This sounds like something in Breaking Bad that they use to create, crystal, that good stuff.
MIC, was being stored in large quantities for the production of pesticides. Poor maintenance, faulty safety systems, and inadequate training of staff created dangerous conditions at the plant. On the night of the disaster, water inadvertently entered a tank containing about 42 tons of MIC, triggering a runaway chemical reaction. The increase in pressure and temperature inside the tank caused a massive leak of MIC gas and other poisonous chemicals. The safety mechanisms designed to neutralize leaks, such as refrigeration and scrubbers, either malfunctioned or had been turned off to save costs. The toxic gas cloud spread quickly over nearby residential areas where tens of thousands of people were sleeping. Many awoke coughing, choking, and with burning eyes, and panic spread as the gas caused immediate health effects, including nausea.
This is almost like a nuclear smoke cloud effect, no?
Breathlessness and blindness. The dense slums surrounding the plants were particularly vulnerable, and within hours, thousands of people were dead, and chaos gripped the city as hospitals were overwhelmed. Official estimates suggest around 3,000 people died within within the first few days, while subsequent estimates put the death toll at over 15,000 due to long-term health complications.
Damn!
An estimated 500,000 people were exposed to the gas, leading to chronic illnesses, respiratory issues, blindness, and birth defects in the years that followed.
All because of a dirty gas tank and because it wasn't properly maintained, bro. If that doesn't show you that we need to be clean and we need, you know, take care of hygiene of, you know, things in life, even ourselves, bro. I know some of y'all are sweaty, stinky, dirty, and don't shower, but you should start doing that, bro.
The Bhopal gas tragedy sparked widespread outrage and legal battles over corporate responsibility. Union Carbide faced international criticism, but survivors of this tragedy have struggled for decades to obtain adequate compensation in healthcare. The Space Shuttle Challenge...
I think that one's probably number 3, right? Texas City, the Titanic, Halifax, Bhopal, Hiroshima, Holocaust. Don't forget the ranking, guys. Don't forget the ranking, all right?
The Chernobyl disaster, one of the worst nuclear accidents in history,
I heard of this.
Occurred on April 26, 1986, at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Pripyat, Ukraine. The accident occurred during a late-night safety test on reactor number 4, which simulated a power outage to test the reactor's emergency systems.
Okay.
However, a combination of operator error and fundamental design flaws in the reactor led to a catastrophic failure. During the test, the reactor's power output dropped to near zero, and an attempt to recover it led to instability. Operators disabled critical safety systems, and the reactor went out of control. A sudden power surge caused an
You disabled the critical safety system. That's the last thing you should do. What the heck?
explosion in the reactor core, blowing off the roof of the building and releasing massive amounts of radioactive material into the atmosphere. Fires broke out, and radiation spread across Europe,
Oh my
particularly
gosh.
affecting Belarus, Ukraine, and Russia. The
Nah,
explosion-
bro, if I'm Russian, I'm Belarus, I'm crashing out, bro. Because if I'm in a different country and I see that you and your stupid rules and your mistakes cause my people to be affected by radiation, I ain't gonna lie, I might send over a nuke, bro. I might have to.
Immediately killed 2 plant workers, and in the days that followed, 28 emergency workers, including firefighters, died from acute radiation sickness after being exposed to extremely high doses while trying to contain the disaster. In total, it is estimated that about 50 direct deaths occurred due to the explosion in radiation. However, the long-term effects were far more severe.
Really?
Tens of thousands of people were evacuated from the surrounding areas, and the exclusion zone around Chernobyl remains uninhabited to this day.
Really?
The radiation exposure has been linked to thousands of cases of
All right, by
cancer.
now it's been some years, bro. I ain't gonna lie. We could probably go explore Chernobyl now. You know, we could probably turn it into like a museum or something, or like I don't know, something, right? Like by now the radiation probably chilled out, right? Relax, radiation, relax. I know it doesn't work like that, but
particularly thyroid cancer and other long-term health issues. Estimates suggest that the eventual death toll from radiation exposure could range from 4,000 to tens of thousands over the coming decades.
Damn.
The Coline High...
Okay, I'm probably gonna put this one above. It's gonna be below Bhopal and above Halifax. I think that was the ranking, right, guys? I don't know, something like that.
Columbine High School shooting, one of the deadliest school shootings in the United States history, took place on April 20th, 1999 in Littleton, Colorado. 2 senior students, Eric Harris,
Chopped 1 and chopped 2, bro. Oh my god, bro, you're hideous, dude.
and Dylan Klebold, carried out a carefully planned attack that shocked the nation. Harris and Klebold had been planning the attack for over a year, amassing firearms, homemade bombs, and ammunition.
Damn.
On the morning of the attack, they planted bombs in the school's cafeteria, intending for them to explode and cause mass casualties.
How lame do you gotta be to kill other kids while they're freaking pursuing their education? The only thing I could really ever hear is like, okay, this person's mentally ill and there's no logic behind it. But a person like this who planned it out a year in a prior, these people deserve everything and anything that comes to them in prison, bro. I don't care what it is.
When the bombs failed to detonate, they entered the school armed with semi-automatic weapons and began shooting indiscriminately.
Nah,
the attack
bro.
started at
They're moving like that one freaking Modern Warfare 2 mission in Terminal.
approximately 11:19 a.m. as Harris and Klebold opened fire on students outside the school before moving inside. They roamed the halls and library, shooting at anyone they encountered, laughing and taunting their victims.
What the
pair
hell, bro?
also engaged in a brief gunfight with the police, who had quickly arrived on the scene. The shooting spree lasted about 47 minutes, after which Harris and Klebold retreated to the library and committed suicide. In total, 12 students and 1 teacher were killed, and 21 others were injured by gunfire.
Damn, rest in peace to all those victims. I didn't know that they killed themselves, though.
Many more suffered from psychological trauma, and the Columbine shooting had a profound impact on the United States, leading to debates on gun control, school security, and the influence of violent media.
We see school threats all the time nowadays, bro. There probably was one today. There was probably one yesterday. There was probably one the day before, bro. Gun control is definitely a serious topic.
Also sparked changes in how law enforcement responds to active shooter situations, and many survivors of this tragedy continue to advocate for stronger measures to prevent similar disasters. The tragedy of 9/11, occurring on September 11th,
Okay, before we do that one Coline probably is gonna go at the very bottom just because it has the least casualties.
2001 was a series of coordinated terrorist attacks carried out by the extremist group Al-Qaeda against the United States. It began with the hijacking of 4 commercial airlines by 19 terrorists, and at 8:46 a.m.
This was done by Bin Laden, right? I know some people were like, oh, George Bush did 9/11, but I don't know about all that, bro.
American Airlines Flight 11, a Boeing 767, crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. Just 17 minutes later, at 9:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175, another Boeing 767, struck the South Tower, and both Another Boeing 767 struck the South Tower, and both buildings were severely damaged, with fires igniting on multiple floors. The attacks continued when American Airlines Flight 77, a Boeing 757, crashed into the Pentagon at 9:37 a.m. The fourth hijacked plane, United Airlines Flight 93, was headed towards Washington, D.C.
I actually didn't even know that they were hijacked planes. I thought they were their own planes that just flew in here. I don't know. Because I was always wondering, like, bro, as a kid, like, how did these planes even get in our airways? How did they even get here unaccounted for?
But passengers, aware of the earlier attacks, attempted to overcome the hijackers. The plane ultimately crashed into a field near Sharksville, Pennsylvania at 10:03 a.m. It is believed that the hijackers intended to target either the White House or the U.S. Capitol.
Oh, damn.
At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed, followed by the North Tower at 10:28 a.m.
Wait, by the way, was there a motive behind this? Like, was there a reason why? Well, it was Al-Qaeda, right? Was there a reason why Al-Qaeda decided to do this?
The collapse of both towers caused massive destruction, including damage to surrounding buildings, and the eventual collapse of the World Trade Center complex. The attacks resulted in the deaths of 2,977 people, including 246 on the 4 planes, 2,606 in the World Trade Center and surrounding areas, and 125 at the Pentagon. Thousands more were injured, and the aftermath led a profound impact on global security policies and led to the U.S.
Yeah, this is the reason why TSA exists, I think, right? Like, if you ever need to get on a plane and there's some lady, you know, freaking shaking you down and smacking your butt and checking to make sure you don't have any liquids inside your anal cavity, this is why. Okay, 9/11's gotta be, I'm gonna put it over Titanic, I'm gonna put it over Halifax, I'm gonna put it over Texas City, over Coline, and over Chernobyl, low-key. No, not over Chernobyl. Because Chernobyl had more deaths, right, overall, long-term, right? Anything that's nuclear is like, it's pretty crazy, right? Might be up there with Chernobyl, I don't know.
The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster occurred on March 11th, 2011, following a massive earthquake and tsunami off the coast of Japan. The magnitude...
As I said earlier, I heard of this one, but I don't remember, I don't know if I ever learned actually what happened in here.
The magnitude 9.0 earthquake, the most powerful ever recorded in Japan, triggered a series of large tsunami waves, some reaching up to 40 meters in height. These waves overwhelmed the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant located in the Fukushima prefecture, operated by the Tokyo Electric Power Company. The tsunami flooded the plant, knocking out its power supply and disabling its cooling system.
The worst thing about Japan's gotta be the natural disasters that could happen. I know my grandfather was actually telling me that, like, Japan is on a volcano damn near, so at any point, like, freaking Mount Fuji could just erupt and everything is cooked, bro. Also, the tsunamis, the earthquakes, all the stuff that be happening there, like, this wasn't even caused by a person, but he's saying that it was caused by a natural disaster, which is a tsunami, man.
Which were essential for preventing overheating in the nuclear reactors. Without cooling, the reactors began to overheat, leading to 3 nuclear meltdowns over the next few days. Hydrogen gas built up in the reactor buildings, resulting in explosions that released radioactive materials into the air. The surrounding area became heavily contaminated, forcing the evacuation of over 150,000 people, and although there were no direct deaths from the radiation exposure in the immediate aftermath, the disaster's long-term health impacts are still being studied. However, it did cause stress-related deaths, especially among the elderly, due to the evacuation and subsequent displacement. Estimates suggest that around 1,600 people died from these indirect causes. The release of radioactive material also contaminated land, water, and food supplies, and the government designated a 20-kilometer exclusion zone around the plants. The cleanup process is ongoing and expected to take multiple decades, with significant challenges in decontaminating the reactor.
Wait, when did this even happen? Sounds like it's kind of recent.
And storing radioactive waste. In the aftermath, the disaster prompted global scrutiny of nuclear safety, leading to reactor shutdowns and revised safety protocols in many countries. In Japan, the Fukushima disaster severely undermined public trust in nuclear energy and led to the temporary shutdown.
Nah, facts. If I'm a citizen, bro, I'm saying screw this, bro. We don't need nuclear anything. And I know what people in Japan probably are like, we do need this just just in case. We don't want to have another Nagasaki or Hiroshima incident, but I don't know. I don't mess with nukes personally, bro. I wish nobody had them.
And of all nuclear plants in the country. The Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting occurred on December 14th, 2012 in Newtown, Connecticut, and remains one of the deadliest mass shootings in United States history. The tragedy began when Adam Lanza, a 20-year-old local resident, shot and killed his mother at their home before driving to Sandy Hook Elementary School. Armed with an assault rifle and other firearms, Lanza forced his way into the school by shooting through a glass window near the entrance. Once inside, Lanza opened fire on students and staff.
I know if you do this to any type of student, it's obviously bad, but the fact that you went to like kindergartners, I'm so confused.
In the span of just 5 minutes, he killed 20 children between the ages of 6 and 7, along with 6 adults.
Okay, I'm not even gonna say it this time because we're in a serious topic, guys. All right, but look, it wasn't even like he went to his own school and there was like bullies at his school, so he decided he was gonna take it back out on his own school. You went to a kindergarten and lit it up.
The Boston Marathon bombing took place on April 15th, 2013, during the annual Boston Marathon. 2 homemade bombs were detonated near the finish line, causing widespread devastation.
During a marathon, bro? These people are just exercising. These people are running, bro. These people are doing things for a good cause. Why'd you decide to do this here?
Detonated near the finish line, causing widespread devastation. The bombs, made from pressure cookers filled with shrapnel, exploded about 12 seconds apart in the crowded spectator area.
You can do that with pressure cookers and nails? I did not know that.
3 people and injured. Shrapnel exploded about 12 seconds apart in the crowded spectator area, killing 3 people and injuring over 260 others. Many of the injured suffered severe wounds, with several people requiring amputations. The perpetrators were later identified as 2 brothers, ethnic Chechens who had lived in the United States for several years. The bombing triggered a massive manhunt.
Why did they do that?
Law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and local police, searched for the attackers. A breakthrough came on April 18th when the 2 brothers killed a police officer during their escape attempt.
Oh my god, okay, they're on timing. They're crazy, they're insane.
They later carjacked a vehicle, leading police on a high-speed chase and engaging in a shootout in the Boston suburb of Watertown. During the confrontation, one of the brothers were killed, but the other managed to escape.
Where were they from?
A citywide lockdown followed, and on April 19th, the surviving brother was found hiding in a boat in a Watertown backyard and was arrested.
Really?
He was later convicted on multiple charges.
You look like a nerd, bro. You look like a gamer. I know that's easy and coming from me, but like, bro.
Including using a weapon of mass destruction, and was sentenced to death. The bombing shocked the nation and raised concerns about domestic terrorism, and the attack also led to enhanced security measures at large public events. The Las Vegas shooting, also known as the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting, occurred on October 1st, 2017, and remains one of the deadliest mass shootings in United States history. The massacre took place during a country music festival on the Las Vegas Strip with over 22,000 attendees. The shooter, a 64-year-old man from Nevada, opened fire from the 32nd floor on the Mandalay Bay Hotel, where he had set
from the top of the hotel? Oh my gosh, bro. What is this American Sniper type of story?
Up an arsenal of firearms. The shooter had checked into the hotel several days earlier, bringing...
How did you get all these weapons of mass destruction, this Call of Duty artillery loadout, bro, into the hotel without the security doing anything? That's how I know, bro. Security, they just be hiring anybody, bro. The people at the desk were probably just freaking sleeping. I don't know. Genuinely, how did he get these up here?
An arsenal of firearms. The shooter had checked into the hotel several days earlier, bringing with him 23 guns, many of which were equipped with bump stocks, devices that allow semi-automatic weapons to fire more rapidly.
So a switch. What is this? What is being blurred here?
At approximately 10:05 p.m., during singer Jason Aldean's performance, the shooter began firing into the crowded festival grounds below, unleashing more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition.
How do you even have that many bullets?
As panicked concert goers tried to flee the scene. In total, 58 people were killed in the attack, and over 850 others were injured, either by gunfire or in the chaos that ensued. The shooter's motivations remain unclear, as he left no manifesto or clear explanation for his actions, and despite extensive investigations by the FBI and local authorities, no conclusive motive was determined. After the shooting, he took his own life before law enforcement breached the hotel room, and this shooting renewed debates over gun control, particularly the use of bump stocks.
Damn, and my next is crazy.
Which were subsequently banned by the Trump administration in 2018. In the aftermath, the Las Vegas community came together under the slogan Vegas Strong to support the victims, their families, and the survivors of this horrific attack. Thank you very much for watching.
Well, that was every insane tragedy discussed in 22 minutes. There's probably other ones that you could have talked about. I guess slavery, like, I don't know if you want to count that. I think that should count, personally. If you're gonna put, like, the Holocaust, I feel like that should count. But, I don't know. He decided to talk about what he wanted to talk about, so whatever. But a lot of these, I will say, I've never seen, so I'm glad that he talked about them because I didn't really know the details behind, like, Fukushima. I didn't know the details behind the Las Vegas shooting. I really like doing videos like this, by the way, so that way we can get, you know, our good, you know, education, because our history books are failures of teachers. Actually, maybe it was just my history book. Some of y'all probably know everything and be like, how does he not know any of this? I didn't care for history, okay? I was a math guy. I was math and science, specifically biology, all right? But that's gonna do it for today's video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe down below. Join the Discord link in the description. Link behind the videos you want me to check out. As always, have a great rest of your day. Peace, love you, I love you, and I'm out.